Brought to you by Penguin.
The Lancashire Lass by Libby Ashworth, read by Katy Sobey.
Chapter 1. Gone? Gone where? asked Hannah. Sally, the scullery maid, shrugged her shoulders. I came down to set the fires and get the water on to boil, but cook never showed up, and when I knocked on her door there were nobody there. All the bedrooms are empty, upstairs and down. Mary hurried in, pushing her hair into her cap. What's to do? she asked when she saw their faces. Sal says everyone's gone. Don't be daft, said Mary, glancing at the row of bells high on the wall as if she expected them all to start tinkling at any moment. We'd best get started on making some tea and toast before Mrs. Slater gives us a telling off. I'll scramble the eggs. She reached for a dish and the bowl of eggs and began to break them one by one, whisking as she went. Sal says the family's all disappeared as well, said Hannah, reaching out to stay Mary's hand as she picked up another egg. Mary hesitated and then gave Sally a fierce look. Hast thou been to look? Aye, I crept in to lay the fires, but their beds weren't slept in, and their drawers were left open and nothing in 'em, and I can't find Mr. Cox or any of the footmen. I thought I were all alone until Hannah came down. A sob caught in her throat, and she sat down on Cook's chair and pulled a rag from her sleeve to wipe her nose. I didn't know what to do. Let's go to look, said Mary to Hannah, setting down the whisk. There's bound to be an explanation, she added, as they hurried up the corridor past the housekeeper's room and the butler's pantry. Both were deserted. Folk don't just disappear in the middle of the night, Mary continued, as they walked through the breakfast room and glanced into the dining room where the table had been cleared and reset after last night's supper. They went into the drawing room. The blue cushions were all plumped, but the blinds were still pulled down, and Sal had neglected to clean out the hearth. All 3 rooms were empty. Where can there be? asked Hannah, as they crossed the main hall with its cabinet of stuffed exotic birds and looked into the billiard room, where the only sign of life was the score from the last game still chalked up on the board. They went up the main staircase, normally forbidden to them except for the early morning dusting, and tapped on the bedroom doors before opening them. No one was there. It was as Sal had said. Drawers and wardrobes were left open, and the beds were untouched with the covers still folded back for bedtime. Moonlight flit, said Mary. No. Hannah knew of people who'd done that, but they were poor folk who couldn't afford to pay their rent, who disappeared in the middle of the night with a few belongings piled onto the back of a cart to avoid their debts. People like the Sudells don't do that. What other explanation is there? asked Mary, and Hannah had to admit that she couldn't think of one. They went down the stairs and back to the kitchen to find Robert, the hall boy, sitting at the table with Sal drinking tea and eating buttered toast. They've gone, he said. We can see that, Mary told him. Dost thou know why? Aye, he said. I woke in the night with all the kerfuffle from the yard and went to see what were afoot. Old Cox shoved me back inside and told me to keep my trap shut. He said Mr. Sudell had lost all his money and wanted to leave afore he were found out because of the shame of it. Lost his money? said Hannah. How could he lose his money? It wasn't like a sixpence slipping out of his pocket, she thought. They said that he had £1 million. Bought too much cotton, said Rob. He had it stockpiled, but now that the price has fallen he can't make his money back. He's bankrupt. There's nought left. But what about all this? asked Hannah. The house alone must be worth a fortune. It'll have to be sold to pay off his debts. What about us? said Hannah, suddenly realising that this was her problem too. Rob shrugged.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?